Every day we call at the Japanese embassy and present our protests and appeals, our reports of violence and crime.
For the kind attention of Mr. Kiyoshi Fukui, Second Secretary, Japanese Embassy. Dear sirs, we are very sorry to trouble you again, but the sufferings and needs of 200,000 civilians of whom we are trying to care make it urgent that we try to secure action from your military authorities to stop present disorder among Japanese soldiers wandering through the safety zone.
Case number 15. Japanese soldiers entered a house on Hankow Road, raped a young wife, and took away 3 women. When 2 husbands ran, the soldiers shot both of them.
Case number 154. A girl, 13 years old, was raped by 3 Japanese soldiers at Chinjiaojia number 6.
Case number 290. 4 soldiers raped a young girl, a little over 10, by turns.
Fukuda and Tanaka of the Japanese embassy had nothing to say, except Fukuda's remark that the army is very mad because they say it is the first time in history that an army had to conquer a place with neutral observers on hand. Quite a false view, but we felt it was not time to argue. We have come to understand the Japanese much better than we did. A week before their entry, I preached to our group and I urged them to have faith in the goodness and humanity of the Japanese. The Chinese are still laughing at us for our innocence. Now we better understand Japanese propaganda. In the midst of great suffering, Japanese news squads went around staging pictures of Japanese soldiers giving candy to a child or an army doctor examining 20 children.
Some Japanese newsmen came to the camp and handed out cakes and apples and a few coins to the refugees. A moving picture was taken of this kind act. At the same time, a bunch of soldiers climbed the back wall of the compound and raped a dozen or so women. No pictures were taken out back.
We introduced the Commandant Matsui, who shakes hands all around. I assume the role of spokesman and explain to Mr. Tanaka of the Japanese embassy that we infer that the city is to be burnt down. Tanaka denies this with a smile.
Statement by the Japanese military posted throughout the city. The municipality of Nanking is quiet. The herds of refugees who fled for their lives from the midst of death have met with the gentle soothing of the Japanese army. The Imperial Army entered the city, put their bayonets into sheaths, and stretched forth merciful hands in order to examine and to heal, diffusing grace and favor to the excellent true citizens. Many thousands of refugees cast off their former absurd attitudes of opposing Japan and clasped their hands in congratulation for receiving assurance of life. Looking down, one sees a playground for Nanking children with soldiers and Chinese children playing joyfully on all sides.
The proclamation on the handbills, which airplanes scattered over the city, saying the Japanese are the only real friends of the Chinese and would protect the good, of course meant no more than most of their statements. And to show their sincerity, they raped, looted, and killed at will.
In these hard times, it is certainly a lifesaver to be in a gang. The thing about the whole situation that startles us all is how we, unarmed handful of foreigners, can chase the Japanese soldiers out of rooms in school buildings, rooms in foreign houses, and rooms in Chinese homes. And still, no one gets hurt. The soldiers often actually run away. Part of it is pure bluff. If we batted an eye, we'd be done for.
Our group here at the House drafted a message to the American Consulate General in Shanghai, asking that diplomatic representatives be sent here immediately as the situation was urgent. Then asked the Japanese to send it via Navy radio. Needless to say, it was never sent.
When things were at their worst, the fellows at our house remarked at supper, "The first fellow that gets killed, we are going to carry his body over and put it in the Japanese embassy." Each night, the 8 of us wonder who would be missing the next night. We said, we just can't all get through this alive.
At noon, a man was led to headquarters with head burned cinder black, eyes and ears gone, a nose partly gone. A ghastly sight. I took him to the hospital in my car, where he died a few hours later. His story was that he was one of a gang of some 100 who had been tied together, then gasoline thrown over them, and set afire.
December 24th, the day before Christmas. About 10 o'clock, I was called to my office by a high military advisor.
Miss Minnie Watrin, our American Minnie, a proper lady to the core. She believes in her girls and guards them the way a hen guards her chicks. I shall never forget her marching at the head of some 400 female refugees through the town, right past groups of vagabonding Japanese soldiers, to guide the refugees to the safety of her girls' camp in Jingling College. And now something terrible has happened to our Minnie.
The request was that they be allowed to pick out prostitute women from our 10,000 refugees. They said they wanted 100. They feel if they can start a regular licensed place for the soldiers, then they will not molest innocent or decent women.
And with hands clenched in horror, Minnie is forced to watch as authorized underlings force their way into her girls' assembly hall, filled with hundreds of good girls. She is not going to hand over even one of them willingly. But then, a number of young refugee girls step forward, evidently former prostitutes. Minnie is speechless.
They finally secured 21. But group after group of women have asked me if they will select the other 79 from the decent women and girls. And all I can answer is, they will not do so if it is in my power to prevent it.
Bob Wilson helped out at our house last night. He got home early for the first time in 2 weeks. So he went to the university gardens, brought 6 big poinsettias and put them around our living room. So we look like Christmas anyway.
Everyone is competing to make this a happy Christmas for me. It's really touching. Chang brought some Christmas roses and has decorated the house with them. He even managed to find a little fir tree that he wants to decorate. And he just came in grinning with joy and carrying 6 very long candles that he rounded up somewhere. Everybody likes me suddenly. And it used to be, or so I thought, that no one wanted to have much to do with me. Or might I have been wrong there? How strange, my dear Dora, my dear children and grandchildren. I know you're all praying for me today. I feel as if I am surrounded by loving thoughts. Believe me, I have a prayer in my heart for all of you as well.
This seems like anything but Christmas Eve. It is sort of tough to keep Japanese soldiers from looting a hospital in the center of what was, a few weeks ago, a great city, while the rest of the family is scattered all over the globe. My baby will be 6 months old in 4 days, and I have only seen her for 7 weeks of that time. It would be pleasant to close the year with some sort of brighter outlook for the next, but we seem to be closing on a note of deepest gloom, without a glimmer of light ahead. The only consolation is that it can't be worse. They can't kill as many people as there aren't any more to kill.
Christmas Eve, Nanking, China, 1937. What I am about to relate is a story which I feel must be told, even if it is seen by only a few. In these 2 short weeks, we here in Nanking have been through a siege. The Chinese army has left, defeated, and the Japanese have come in. On that day, Nanking was still the beautiful city we were so proud of, with law and order still prevailing. Today it is a city laid waste, ravaged, completely looted, much of it burned. Complete anarchy has reigned for 10 days. It has been a hell on earth. Not that my life has been in serious danger at any time, though turning lust-mad, drunken soldiers out of houses where they were raping the women is not altogether a safe occupation. Nor does one feel perhaps too sure of himself when he finds a bayonet at his chest or a revolver at his head, and knows it is handled by someone who heartily wishes him out of the way. For the Japanese army is anything but pleased at our being here. They wanted no observers. But to have to stand by, while even the very poor are having their last possessions taken from them, their last coin, their last bit of bedding, while thousands of disarmed soldiers who had sought sanctuary with you, together with many hundreds of innocent civilians, are taken out before your eyes to be shot or used for bayonet practice. And we have to listen to the sounds of the guns that are killing them. Over 1,000 women